put the icing on the cake with a triple. Sure, Mabry, the dagger, boom!
Nicholson, the go-ahead bucket. Townsville complete the comeback of the season.
Round 9 of this topsy-turvy WNBL season concludes in the beautiful Queensland tropics with the Townsville Fire hosting the Melbourne Boomers at the Townsville Entertainment Centre. The Fire fell agonisingly short of registering a boil-over win on Friday night, only to go down in overtime to the red-hot Adelaide. But now Shannon Seabomb's girls face a tough task against the Melbourne Boomers, who only only about a week ago went down to the Fire after a fourth quarter capitulation. Can the Boomers get some revenge, or can Townsville continue their great ride against the Melbourne Boomers? Welcome to broadcast of this game on KO Sports. Ben Waterworth with you alongside a WNBL champion twice and one of the sharpest hoops minds in the business, Stephanie Blitzarv. Stephs, welcome along to this game, which should be a cracker to finish off round 9.
Yeah, it should be. Both of these teams are really edging for that win, and we saw the Fire just not quite hitting the mark last time. So I think they're really going to be a fire in their belly for today.
Pardon the pun, Steph, pardon the pun. Let's have a look back at that game that you just mentioned as well on Friday night. Gosh, they came close to beating Adelaide. Adelaide, the form team of the competition. The Fire almost caused a boil over as well. How do you think they fared in that game? I know they got close to causing a bit of an upset. I assume they take some positives out of that, but also there'd be some disappointment as well.
Yeah, you really have to take the positives out of that one. They made it to overtime. They fought their way back. They played a lot of really, really good basketball, and they just fell short right at the end. So they have a few things they can take away from that game, what they need to fix, and hopefully that'll get them over the line today.
Alana Smith continuing her great return, or great first season in the WNBL. As we turn our attention to this game in particular, the Boomers and the Fire just tipping off in only a few minutes. Steph, how do you think the Fire will be able to bounce back after getting so close yet so far a couple of nights ago, and they come up against one of the hottest teams in the WNBL?
Yeah, I think after a really close loss, it sets something off in you and you go, I don't want that to happen again. So I think they will really be coming out with a lot of positivity and energy today, and I think the Boomers have shown us that they've had a couple of sluggish starts this season, but then always grind their way back into the game. So I think they may have a chance here, the Fire, to catch them off guard, but we can't count the Deakin University Melbourne Boomers out of it because they always fight their way back.
Let's have a look at the Townsville Fire. Strong starting five, but also some great bench depth as well. You look at Michaela Cox, the veteran, but also Lara McSpadden, the former Sydney Uni Flame, and Steph Reid off the bench has had a really exciting start to the campaign.
Yeah, she has. She is just that bulldog defender. She has a lot of energy when she comes off, and she's been their spark so far. And it's been great to see her getting more minutes as she's worked her way into the season. And
averaging a career high 8 points per game, as well as we have a look at Guy Malloy's Melbourne Boomers. And on paper, Steph, you'd have to say that's probably the strongest starting five in the league at the moment.
You look at that team and you go, they look unbeatable at some points.
Yep.
But that's basketball. You have to turn up every game and you have to win. You have to put it all together. So they do have a really, really strong team, and when they do put it together, they're fantastic to watch.
Yeah, they're having a good season so far. 6 wins and 3 losses, where the Townsville Fire are 4 wins and 3 losses. There are your 3 referees for tonight. Kylie Vivoden, Daryl Millard and Carlia Hanks as well will be overseeing proceedings from the Townsville Entertainment Centre. Townsville Fire have played at a number of different venues over the years, a bit of a different feel back at the Townsville Entertainment Centre, Steph, where the grandstands are quite high, and it can be a bit intimidating for opposition teams travelling.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that you love if you're playing for Townsville. It's like having an extra player on the court, because the cowbells are going and they're getting right behind them.
There's nothing better in the WNBL than the cowbell at the Townsville Entertainment Centre. We had a look at the starting five just then for the Townsville Fire, and the starting five as well for the Boomers. 2 opals there in Essie Magbegor and Lindsay Allen, and Tess Madgen as well. Can't forget Tess. And then 2 great imports in Lindsay Allen and Tiffany Mitchell having a big impact as well. Steph, how do you see this game panning out? Do I dare ask for a tip from you pre the start of the game?
I've been asked for tips throughout the whole season, and I have been horribly wrong every time. So I think we're just going to leave it today, and we'll just hope for a really close one.
Excellent. We'll remove the splinters from Steph very, very shortly. As Kayla George is back in familiar territory. She's a Townsville legend, really, with her achievements in the WNBL. She played 3 seasons with Townsville, and they all correlated to Townsville championships as well. Now she's a Melbourne Boomer, hoping to try and get the Boomers' first championship in a decade. And it's a tradition in Townsville as well, as they're all up on their feet to start this one, start every game, in fact. But what a jam-packed amount of talent we have on the floor for the start of this contest as well. And how about the tip? Ezi Magbegor and Zatina Akuzo going at it. That's pretty exciting for Australian basketball, Steph.
That is, and they're going to be enemies today, and then come tomorrow,
yes,
going to have to be training with each other at the Opals camp that's coming up.
Zatina and Ezi both part of the 16-player Opals squad that has been that will be assembling ahead of the trip to Serbia. And they'll be playing in some FIBA World Cup qualifying games. Of course, the Aussies will be there nonetheless, because we're hosting it in September and October as the game is underway. Round 9, WNBL clash between the Fire and the Boomers. Great to have you with us wherever you're watching on KO Sports. 2 cracking teams, 2 teams that have been right up there in recent seasons. As Mitchell slipped on the floor, still an opportunity for George from the corner. Well short the first 3 attempts. Mitchell, terrific O-board and the first points of the game.
And you just see the strength and power of Tiffany Mitchell just battling her way in the key there.
So these 2 teams, as we mentioned, last met just over 8 days ago. They meet for the 2nd week in a row. The Fire trailed by 20 points, but then made a gutsy comeback to win. They scored 16 points to 4 in the final quarter. Beautiful ball movement, and unfortunately Akuzo had a good look at the basket, but couldn't get that one to drop.
Just a little bit too open, worried herself out of it.
Promising signs, though, from Shannon Seabomb's side on offense, early stages. Magin, herself a former Fire player. Magbegor, George, really good open look for 3, and Kayla G hits the 3.
And you can't leave Kayla open like that, because it's going up, and a lot of the time it's going in.
Going 33% from beyond the perimeter so far this season, but she's arguably in career best form, Kayla, at 32 years of age. Here's Nicholson, trying to get around Ezi. Billings now, such an exciting player to have in the WNBL this season. Bit too much juice off the backboard there. As Mitchell and Magbegor linking up, and Ezi at her best, working her way inside and getting the 2. Having a great season so far, Ezi Magbegor, averaging the 15 points per game, as Nicholson really enjoys getting into the lane and putting up those mid-range 2s, but the Fire still yet to hit a field goal. They're 0 of 3, whereas the Boomers are 2 of 2.
And that's the difference in the game right now. The Fire have had some good looks. They've got into the key and they've had layup attempts, but they just haven't converted.
And the 4 rebounds to zip as well in favour of the Boomers, although Akuzo almost ripped it out of the hands of her opponent in Mitchell. In fact, it was Allen on that occasion. Now the pass inside to Magbegor, and the nimble feet just far too good for Billings on that occasion. And a 9-0 lead. The Boomers have stunned the Fire early stages in this one.
And this season, the Boomers have been known to just not start great. They've had a few sluggish starts, but they've obviously taken that away and worked on it because they're on fire so far.
Yeah, a bit to think about for Shannon Seabohm early stages. This is Sutton down the floor with Billings. 2 imports working in tandem. Akuzo tries to set the screen. Lindsay Allen right on Song, no. The hand in there from the Boomers. First foul of the game committed. So we see Lindsay Allen on screen, her 3rd season with the Boomers. They love having her as part of the Melbourne setup. Acknowledging there that she did wrong. 2.5 played, and Townsville yet to score. Boomers with a 9-0 start to this one. Nicholson handing off for Sutton. 1 second to shoot, and the Boomers force a turnover. 3-on-2 down the floor. Allen She almost had too many options there and sort of caught in two minds and turned the basketball over herself.
And the Boomers have really been up and in with that pressure defence. And it's really working for them. So they're aggressively hard showing off all the on-balls so far and just worrying Townsville into turnovers.
Third season in charge, Shannon Seabom of the Townsville Fire. Terrific campaign in the hub last year, getting his side into the WNBL Grand Final. There's some good ball movement from the Fire as Billings works her way inside, gets the first bucket, and she has a chance to make it 3 points.
That was a nice finish there from Billings. She was a little bit off balance, wrong foot, and managed to make it and go to the line for the and one.
So the Boomers had an electrifying start in the first quarter last week. I agree with you, Steph, that the first quarters haven't been their foray or certainly their one wood this season. But last week, the Boomers had a 25-9 first quarter, but then the Fire actually won every quarter from there, including that 16-4 final quarter, which saw them overrun the Boomers in Parkville. As Billings is called for her first personal foul of the game, first team foul in this quarter. What a privilege it is to have Monique Billings in the WNBL. She was huge a couple of nights ago against Adelaide. 27 points, 7 rebounds, 3 steals. Her best performance as a Fire player yet. Here's Madgen in the post, going to work against Mia Murray, who's on the court now, but Ezzy Magbegor can't hit the turnaround J. Melbourne Boomers rely very heavily on their starting five, as the Fire like to bring the changes a little bit more. Akuzo, Billings, mid-range 2, misfires. Kayla George with another rebound. She's already got 3. She averages 11 per game. Magbegor. How good was that?
And Ezzy's just going from strength to strength. She's just every season improving, and that was just a great move from her there. 6
points already for Ezzy Magbegor as the Boomers take an 11-3 lead and force another turnover. They're starting to bank up here for the Fire. Allen, George, and the handoff. Mitchell guarded by Nicholson. Almost jumped and gave away the travel there. Look away pass too hot for Ezzy. 7 to shoot here as Madgen works her way inside and gets the lucky roll. And a timeout is called, and a much needed one as well, because the Boomers, for the second game in a row against the Fire, have stunned Townsville in the first term. They lead 13-3.
They've obviously taken some time to really understand what they need to do at the start of games, and it's working for them. They're getting a lot of great inside looks with Ezzy, and as you just saw Tess there, getting 2 feet into key, the nice little jumper.
It's a timeout called by Townsville coach Shannon Seabom. He's seen Guy Malloy addressing his side in his 9th straight season with the Melbourne Boomers. Guy Malloy will be his 9th and final season. He'll be heading back to New Zealand, or to take up a full-time role in New Zealand basketball at the end of the WNBL campaign. He's had a really, really impressive stint with the Boomers for no premiership success or title success. This is his 295th WNBL game, his 171st with the Boomers. And he talked to the Melbourne Boomers players, and they just love playing for him, Steph.
It is. It's very much, once people are in the Melbourne Boomers family, they seem to just really bond together, and they're all about each other. So it's nice to see the players loving to play for a club.
So no substitutions yet for the Boomers. They're still going with their same starting 5. As we see Ezzy Magbegor, terrific start for her. 6 points, 3 of 4 from the field for Magbegor.
I think Melbourne Boomers are doing it. If it's not broken, don't need to fix it at this minute.
Here's Steph Reid. Talked about her pre-game. A terrific season she's having. Monique Billings with a lovely turnaround. Kayla George with her 4th board. Allen, guarded by Reid. Madgen. Mitchell. Magbegor looking for George. She's screaming for it. Sees a bit of a mismatch there against Nadine Payne. And George turns around and hits the long one.
And Kayla is so dangerous. Once she hits her first, she can go on to hit 3 or 4 or 5. So they'll have to just keep an eye out for Kayla and carry a big hand.
Risky pass there from Reid. Across the perimeter. Payne loves a 3. Also does Mia Murray, the veteran from the corner. That never looked like missing.
No, and that was a great extra pass there from Nadine Payne, because if you have a shooter with a high caliber shooter like Mia Murray in the corner, you want to be giving it to her.
Madgen finds a way through. Just a little hand in there, stopped the momentum of the ball before it got to Mitchell, but she's still good enough to put up the J. He's firing. Billings comes down with the rebound. Just under 4.5 to play in the first quarter. Boomers with a strong start. Reid, right underneath the rack she goes. Payne this time is a good look for 3. Nadine knocks it down, and the Fire with 2 important 3s in a row.
And you wonder if this is the momentum change that they needed or were looking for.
Nadine Payne, grew up in Townsville, now back with the Fire after stints across the league. What a pass from Lindsay Allen. No assist for her, deserved an assist that she was able to drive inside. A foul is called on the Boomers.
And that was a solid box out there from Loz Nicholson, just to really hold her player back and then end up with the board and be rewarded with the foul.
Gee, decent effort from Kayla George just in the corner there. And again, Nadine Payne with a good look for 3. So the Fire with 2 successful 3 balls to start this one. But inside the arc, they are struggling from the mid-range at the moment. Reid, guarded by Allen. What an experience that would be for the young gun going up against one of the best in the league, international calibre. Nicholson gets the handoff. Fakuzo wants to pick and roll. Nicholson goes the mid-range 2, and the bank's open for another 2, and the Fire back within 4. Good little comeback here.
And here we see that defense of Steph Reid just up on the ball on Lindsay Allen.
Be a tough afternoon for Allen. Here's Carly Ernst, game number 3 with the Melbourne Boomers. Madgen back out for Ernst, who loves the triple attempt, falling short on that occasion. Carly Ernst. Reid, guarded by Ernst. Significant height differential there. Thought she was going to go the reverse. She may have got the pass off there to Akuzo, and that Allow Protect missed. Now Allen again gets around Reid this time, draws the contact. Reid with the starfish on the floor, held to her feet now, and Allen will head to the line for 2.
And this is going to be a great matchup to watch, because Allen is so aggressive and Steph Reid doesn't want any of that.
Yeah.
She's definitely one of those hard-nosed defenders, so I think we're going to have quite the battle on our hands.
So Lindsay Allen at the line, her 53rd game with the Melbourne Boomers. She's having another excellent season, averaging the 12 points per match. Went to the top 10 in assists and going at 39% from three-point territory, which is ranked 9th in the league. 78% free throw shooter, Lindsay Allen so far this season.
And it's been amazing that we've been able to retain her in the league for so long.
She would have been playing in 2020 as well if it wasn't for COVID and subsequent border restrictions. The Boomers were dead keen to get her, and she was keen to come back out. Didn't come to fruition. But so the fact that COVID, that we had that hub season, she's come back out again, it's just testament to the league and testament to the Boomers culture. As Nicholson gets a good look there with the left-hand attempt, and it will be a Melbourne Boomers ball from the baseline.
Satina almost had it, just didn't quite get enough of her hand onto it.
Had a good game last week against the Melbourne Boomers. 17 points at 7 of 9 from the field, along with 7 rebounds, Tina Akuzo. Allen. Ernst, guarded by Akuzo. George. Brewster on the floor here. Have a look at it. Working in tandem with Ernst. He's backing down on Akuzo. The hook shot. And Carly Ernst gets the lucky roll. At the other end, the Fire look for a quick go-ahead. Nicholson fumbled at the wrong time. Michaela Cox, the veteran, with some minutes in the first term as we tick towards quarter time. Payne, Nicholson, good look for 3. Akuzo with the O-board. And no foul call, good defence from the Boomers to force the turnover.
And Carly did really well just to use her length there and not reach in too much. She just put her hand out and made Zatina make a hard shot there.
Offensive foul called on the Melbourne Boomers. Nadine Payne happy with that call, no doubt. That strong offensive rebounding there from Akuzo. Ernst not giving away the foul according to the referee. 19-11 lead. The Fire were down by as much as 10. Got it back to within 4. Now the Boomers lead by 8. Seesawing contest early stages. Cox hands it off for Reid. Kicks it right out as well. Catch and shoot from the corner. Missing Murray there as Ernst brings down another rebound. 10-5 rebound count in favour of Melbourne in this first term. Allen, right out. Beautiful pass. Brewster, the young gun from the corner, hits the triple. And it's a game-high 11-point lead for Melbourne. Early minutes here for Rachel Brewster. And then, is that not sportsmanlike foul called there?
I'm not sure what the... That was a beautiful shot there from Rachel Brewster. And it's great to see her back in the league because she was injured at the start of the season, so...
Yep, we're heading to the free throw line. May have been on Izzy right there. And Steph Reid will be heading to the free throw line. We've been talking about how she's having a career best season. Had 2 years with the Steph Blitzarf Southside Flyers. What impressed you about Steph when she was a development player, sort of coming into a full-time player? What sort of impressed you when you were on the same roster as her, Steph?
So I only just came in last season to the Southside Flyers, so I didn't actually get the crossover, but I was involved because I was #1 fanning.
Yes, of course.
#1 fanning. But she just, from all accounts, she's just a really, really hard worker. Her work ethic is a lot of the time unmatched. She really doesn't give up and has that confidence to play. She's only a young player, but even in the NBL 1 season, we see her just... Her scoring ability is fantastic, whereas in the WNBL, she's known for a defensive effort. So she's just across the board. She's doing so well, and it's great to see her getting some minutes now for the Fire.
Yeah, she put some big numbers for the Frankston Blues in the NBL 1. Steph Reid. Magbegor back on the floor. 1 second differential between game clock and shot clock here. Look at Ezzy Magbegor with authority, drives inside and gets the 2 to go.
The athleticism is just fantastic to watch.
Steph Reid on the buzzer, falling short. And that is quarter time. Melbourne with an 11-point advantage as well. Another strong first quarter from the Melbourne Boomers. They lead the Fire 24-13. Second quarter action coming up in just a few moments.
To everyone who said we're not strong enough, not fast enough, wrong. We're crossover queens, scoring buckets, taking names and hitting no-look threes. We fight for every ball. Until we dunk, hell yeah. When we roll onto the court with nothing to lose and everything to prove, you're in for a show. She got style, she got balls, she got belief, she got game.
And if you think you or your child is the next best thing in basketball, make sure to check out Aussie Hoops, which is basketball's national junior participation program, introducing kids 5 to 10 years old to this great game. They learn and improve their fundamental movement skills as well as the basics of teamwork and cooperation, which will benefit them both on and off the court. Most importantly, they have fun and make lots of friends. So to find out where your kids can start a lifelong enjoyment of hoops, visit the Aussie Hoops locator, which can be found at aussiehoops.basketball/find a program. And a great crowd and great mix of people from all kinds of generations in the Townsville Entertainment Centre tonight for this round 9 clash, which sees the Boomers holding a 25-13 lead at the first change. Ben Waterworth with you alongside Steph blitz halves, and we just saw the launch a fight back midway through that first quarter, Steph, but the Boomers just flexing their muscle. And we're seeing a few players off the bench making a bit of an impact in that first quarter.
Yeah, it's been great to see the bench being able to come on and not miss a step, even add to the game so far. Whereas Melbourne Boomers have really, they used their starting five really well to just punch out that lead at the start, and then that gave them the opportunity to bring some players in off the bench, which was great to see.
Even to see Rachel Brewster come on and hit the 3 for the Boomers, and Carly Ernst hit that 2 at that hook shot for Melbourne as well, to help Melbourne out to a 25-13 lead. I think the score may have been updated after or during quarter time, because that Kayla George miracle turnaround, Jay, may have been counted as a 2 originally, but has been awarded a 3. Second quarter underway. Billings, Reed, handoff. Yeah, from Courtney Woods, is on the floor. Akuzo backing down, and too good there for Carly Ernst. Lovely left-hand finish. Akuzo with her first field goal of the night.
That'd be a nice little confidence boost there for Zatina. She's missed a couple of shots inside, so hopefully that gets her on her way.
Zevi Ezzy on the perimeter there, as we see Ernst going to work in Billings' face, misfires, Akuzo rebounds. Great to have you with us on KO Sports. It's the Fire and the Boomers to finish round 9 of this WNBL season. Reed v Scanlon, 2 young guns of Australian basketball, going head to head, and look at the crossover, then the beautiful Euro step inside from Reed, doesn't quite come off. That would have been a special play from the young gun.
She did all the hard work, as we see here, just the hesitation, made it all the way in, the nice Euro, and then didn't quite have the power on that shot.
That's just a glimpse of what we can expect in the future, what we can expect now, really, from Steph Reed. Lots of fans on social media perplexed as to why she isn't part of the Opal setup. No doubt Sandy Brondello's Reed will be on her radar. He's using up all the time here. I don't know if Scanlon got that time up. No. Shot clock violation. Time did run up. And that will be a turnover with defence from the Townsville Fire.
And this is a great matchup right here, Reed v Scanlon, because they're both very similar players.
Similar height as well. Scanlon at 175 and Reed at 67. Here is Reed. Long attempt, well off target. Box out attempt there from Billings. Didn't quite come to fruition, as she has a word with the referee.
She was almost pleading with the refs there.
A foul with the one-on-one contest there with Mag Begor, but the ball trickled out of bounds, and the Boomers can reload from their backcourt with a 10-point advantage. They will know that they can't afford to take the foot off the gas at any stage, because they lost every quarter in the second, third and fourth. But when Ezzy Magbegor is hitting and ones like that, the Boomers are going to be hard to stop tonight.
And that was just smart there from Ezzy. She knew she was getting overplayed, the quick back cut, and then just took her time. She could have easily shot that jump shot, but then she took it straight to the basket, created the contact, and now she has the and one.
That's certainly what I've noticed in the past sort of 4 years with Magbegor, is she's always had the athleticism, but the basketball IQ just seems to have gone to another level, Steph.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely from her international experience.
Yep.
She's been playing with players in the WNBA, which are smart players, almost the best in the world, and she's obviously learnt a lot.
Game high 13-point lead here for Melbourne as the Townsville Fire up. Chant reverberates around the Townsville Entertainment Centre. Can't quite spur Nicholson onto that 2, but they get a fresh 14 seconds. That was Courtney Woods coming up with the O board. Akuzo with 8 to shoot. Kicks it out, hoping for Jones, but through her hands, and a Boomers ball from the sideline. Courtney Woods playing in her 7th game of the season, as we see Steph Reed check out of the game. An impact she's had on the floor, just at 2 points, but she's making things happen on the floor tonight. Lou Brown out there for the Boomers now. Scanlon, the young Boomers, having a good look at the moment. Scanlon able to draw the contact, the UC Caps Championship player from a couple of years ago.
And we know that Scanlon's really quick, so that first step, she almost had the first step on Sutton, who is also a very quick player, so it's great to see her know what she's good at and doing it well.
Didn't play in the hub last year. She was with Gonzaga University, and she led as part of her team's West Coast Conference Championship. Also part of the Aussie Gems silver medal side at the Under-19 World Championships in 2019. So coming the Melbourne Boomers this season with a great CV and a really exciting prospect at just 20 years of age. Does that make you feel old, Steph?
Yes, it definitely does.
Here's Billings. Handing off to Sutton, who's yet to hit the scoreboard. Billings, again, look at the athleticism, raising up, but can't get that one to drop, and the Fire are going at 20% from the field so far. Conversely, the Boomers going at 67%. Scanlon drives inside, kicks it out. Beautiful ball movement. Brewster, deep three, just off target. That's Rachel Brewster. She loves to put up the three ball. We saw that with Nana Wadding in the NBL 1 season in recent times. Zakuzo underneath the rack. Again, misses. She could be kicking herself. She was through some contact, but she'd be disappointed she couldn't complete a three-point play here.
And that's been Townsville's tale so far this game. They've had a lot of layups that have just rattled out or a little bit too much on them, and if they had made even half of the ones that they should have made, it would be a completely different game. So
Tatina Rakuzo is part of the Opals FIBA World Cup 16 player squad, but it's a big season for her from specifically a Fire perspective, because it's the first season where she's had no Susie Bakovic, no Kayla George or no Darcy Garvin in the side, who have traditionally played in front of her in recent times, but now she's the woman. She's the big underneath the basket, playing in the power forward centre position.
Yeah, that's right. It's her chance to take her opportunities and really step up and just really solidify herself as a prominent big in the league.
She's certainly making waves from an Opal squad selection perspective. She's good on both free throw attempts there, so she's got 4 points and 3 boards so far, but the Fire still find themselves down by 12. Imagine a Mitchell back on the floor. Mitchell, mid-range 2, doesn't quite go. Akuzo coming up with another rebound, equal game high 4 for her. Sutton, the defense there from Scanlon off the pick and roll. Payne. Nicholson, easy shots coming up here. 7 to shoot for Sutton, who tries to work away inside. Crossover ends up being a deep 2 and ends up missing, but well played by the veteran Mia Murray to come up with a fresh 14 seconds for the Fire. Sutton, again, good defense from Scanlon. Nicholson works her way inside. She's so tough. And another layup just doesn't drop. Brown keeps it alive as well and finds Scanlon. And Scanlon draws the contact. The young guns of the Boomers standing up.
This was such a tough layup there from Loz Nicholson. Managed to keep her feet, but then Lou Brown used her athleticism to just keep that ball straight back into Scanlon.
Another Nunawading Spectre on the Boomers roster. Influence of assistant coach Paul Flynn, no doubt. Nicholson, good look here for 3. Catch and shoot. That one doesn't drop. And there is a significant differential in field goal efficiency between these two sides at the moment. George for 3. Tough shot. Sutton comes up with an easy board. Halfway through the second quarter almost, as Nadine Payne has a good look for 3, and you can't leave her alone from beyond the arc.
No, you can't. She's proven herself as a three-point shooter, so she was licking her lips as soon as that ball came to her.
Timeout called. The Boomers holding a 29-20 lead. So we have a look at Nadine Payne in rhythm, able to hit that triple all nylon, and that's a good boost for the Fire, because they've certainly haven't had it their own way in this second quarter. The Melbourne Boomers, who haven't had their starting 5 on, their complete starting 5 on for the most of the quarter. Some of the young guns doing some good work for the Boomers.
They are, and they haven't lost anything since they've brought their subs in. So it's great for those young girls or even the bench players to just have their opportunities and prove themselves.
Third season in charge for Townsville coach Shannon Seaborn. Of course, coached the Sydney Uni Flames in 2014 and 2016 and was WNBL Coach of the Year in his first season, and had ample experience at international level as well, at underage, under 17s, coaching the Australian side there to first in the 2016 side. Pretty handy side with the likes of Ezzy Magbegor and Monique Conti as well. And then the under-19 gems to bronze in the 2018 World Championships as well. So it comes from a good pedigree, Shannon Seaborn. Bit for him to work with though, and a bit for him to do as well. If his side down by 9 points midway through this second term. Nice to have your company on KO Sports as the Fire go full court press here off the timeout, and they force a turnover.
And that was a really well executed trap there. They forced Melbourne Boomers to catch it in the corner. So Allen took it right back into the corner. She had nowhere to go and then was forced to make a tough pass.
Tiff Mitchell thought it was off Fire hands, but the referee thought otherwise. Now, can they capitalise at the offensive end of the floor? Payne! Gosh, she had a good look there. Just off target. Magin. George. One-on-one with Akuzo, former teammate. Going head-to-head now, Opal's teammates. Allen. Look at the athleticism. The basketball now and gets it to drop. And Lindsay Allen is firing. There are a few better players to watch in the WNBL than her.
And
Sutton.
The great thing about Allen is that she's a point guard, so she distributes to everyone else and creates scores, but then he's able to score herself.
Yep. Very selfless player, Lindsay Allen. As Nicholson has 6 to shoot here for Payne, for Sutton. Working along the baseline here. And Payne just gets it off in time, but can't get the 2 to go, and Allen comes up with the rebound. So a couple of good looks for the Fire in recent minutes, just haven't been able to capitalise on the scoreboard. George. Mitchell. The arm came out, but it was deemed a foul on the Fire. Tiff Mitchell averaging 17 points per game this season, ranked 5th in the WNBL. And 10 plus points in all but one game. And that was against the Fire last week. Allen, beautiful pass. Magin can't hit the deep field goal attempt there. Lindsay Allen creating ample opportunities. She hits the deck here. Sutton keeps her feet. Payne again for 3. She's feeling it from deep.
And you just saw Sutton there. She was just probing just enough to get Ezzy to commit, just to find Nadine to hit that 3. And if she's on fire, keep going to her.
Vintage Nadine Payne. She's 3 of 4 from beyond the perimeter. Mitchell works her way to the stripe and doesn't get the 2 to go. So some momentum off the timeout here for the Fire as we tick towards half-time. Sutton for 3. She can't get it to go, and Akuzo can't get the offensive rebound. Peppering the basket at the moment, the Townsville Fire. Magbegor, guarded by Payne. Goes to work on Payne, inside, and she's so hard to stop in this mode at the moment.
Oh, she is. She's just so athletic, so quick. And we were talking about it before, her basketball IQ has just leveled up.
She's got 13 points, 6 of 7 from the field. Ezzy Magbegor, as Sutton gets the reply at the other end. That's her first points of the night. As a foul is called on Lauren Nicholson, as Tiffany Mitchell tried to get herself inside the arc. Just a little swing of momentum in the past 2.5 minutes the way of the Townsville Fire, back within 8 points. They can get that to just under 5 before half-time. They'll be pretty pleased with that as a timeout is called with 2 minutes and 13 seconds remaining in this first half. And after that beautiful trap that they set off the timeout, just things have changed a little bit, Steph, for the Fire.
Yeah, it feels like they're just within touching distance at the moment. They put some pressure on and they managed to hit. Nadine Payne's been able to hit some threes, and they're still in the game, but Melbourne are just fighting them off. They're just keeping that comfy little lead, and just especially with Ezzy playing the way she is. You just feel like they've got control so far.
13 points for Magbergor, 6 of 7 from the field. And for the Townsville Fire, Nadine Payne has been doing the damage at the offensive end of the floor. She's got 9 points, all coming from deep. She's 3 of 4 from three-point territory. So these two teams, it's been a bit of a interesting kind of game scenario in recent years. Townsville has won actually the last 4 consecutive games against the Melbourne Boomers, but that came after the Boomers had won the previous 6 in a row between the two sides. That was across that's basically since 2018 that streak has happened. As Magbergor gets us back underway here. Allen, Mitchell, the starters back out on the floor here for the Boomers. Mitchell crossing over, a couple of crossovers there on Nicholson. A good defense from Nicholson. Great find though from Mitchell, and Magbergor would have backed her 9 times out of 10 to hit that.
Rare miss for Ezzy there.
Just her second missed field goal of the night so far. What an opportunity for the Fire as Monique Billings draws the contact from Magbergor and will head to the line to shoot a couple.
And that was smart there from Billings. She just felt Ezzy on her back and knew she would have the contact if she took it up strong to the basket.
First foul on Magbergor so far today. No one in foul trouble from either side. In fact, that might be Magbergor's second foul. First player with 2 fouls to their name. Monique Billings at the line, playing her 6th game of the season. Didn't play against the Melbourne Boomers last weekend. The star from the Atlanta Dream, 114 WNBA games of experience, averaging 20 minutes per match across that stint as well. Privileged to have her in the league this season as a foul is called on Michaela Cox.
And Michaela was just taking up Tessa's space there, and refs decided that she was in her cylinder.
Still having a big impact off the bench this year, Michaela Cox. Just the 13 minutes per game, but always gives the Fire an edge coming off that bench, as she has done for many, many years. Her 10th season this year with the Townsville Fire.
Yeah, and Mickey's just one of those really hard workers. She comes in and does the little things. She can hit a long-range 3. She's pretty crafty under the basket as well. So just with the 13 minutes, I feel like she's doing really, really well.
1 of 2 there, Tess Madgen from the line. And she's only a very good free throw shooter as well, Tess Madgen, going at 85% from the free throw line this year as Billings, great elevation, and banks it in. And suddenly the Fire have reduced this margin to 5 points. Terrific fight back this from the Fire in the back half of this second term. Madgen gets the screen from Ernst. There's an offensive foul called.
And it seems as though the momentum is really with the Fire at the minute.
Very much so. With 1 minute and 10 seconds, Stuff getting it under 5 points. They could take the lead back in the next minute and 10 seconds. We see the offensive foul called by the referee. Can they make further inroads in the scoreboard? Monique Billings has been excellent, draws the contacts once again, so they're drawing the fouls at the moment, the Townsville Fire. And we'll have another look on the line. There's the hold there from Taylor George.
And they're really making the refs make those calls.
Yep.
They're attacking the body of the Melbourne Boomers, and it's either going to be a foul or you're going to get an open layup because they'll have to move out the way.
Meg Billings going at 80% from the free throw line this season, 57% from the field, which is the best field goal percentage of any starter in the WNBL this season, or regular starter, that is. So 1 of 2. They're back within 4 points. Terrific contest on our hands here in North Queensland tonight. Less than a minute remaining in the second quarter now. Madgen gets the screen from George, and pick and roll works well. George loves a reverse, can't get that one to drop. There's 2 seconds to shoot here for Lindsay Allen, who can't get it to go. George gives them a fresh 14 seconds. Ernst, tough, didn't quite have the right positioning there to get the reverse layup happening, as Lauren Nicholson looks at the scoreboard and says a 7-second differential between game clock and shot clock as a foul is called, and Shannon Seaborn applauds, and so do the Townsville Fire fans at the Townsville Entertainment Centre.
And this foul here just looks like a foul out of frustration from Kayla George. Billings had the front position, and then Kayla just had to come over the top.
So Billings again getting herself to the free throw line. She's 4 of 5 so far in this game. Have left a couple of opportunities begging at the free throw line. The Fire, that's their third miss. Their second miss rather so far. But Billings is able to draw them within 3 with no shot clock remaining. Now the referee's just blowing the whistle here. I think they're just working out the time, and if there is a shot clock actually for the remaining play or plays in this game, they'll confer now with the stats bench. So Shannon Seaborn be pretty pleased with what his side's been able to do in this second quarter. They were down by as much as 13 points.
And he'll be really happy that they really just edged their way back in and fought their way back to only 3 points.
Mitchell will use up all of her time here. She'll have the final say of this quarter, you say, and gosh, they need a bucket here. She comes up with a turnaround but can't get it to go. Billings puts up the prayer from the car park, and that is well off target. But that is a terrific second quarter fight back from the Townsville Fire. They were down by as much as 13, but again, they've launched a fight back against the Boomers, and they're only within 3 points at halftime. The Boomers 34, the Townsville Fire 31, and Steph Blitzarves, terrific fight back from the Townsville Fire. And it really sort of began from the defensive end, and that led to some offensive dominance as well.
Yeah, and that's what we've seen a lot from the Fire this season. They're one of those teams that they never give up. They're never out of the contest. Even if they're down by as much as 15, they're always just around the corner from getting on a run, hitting a couple of threes, and getting right back into the game.
As we have a look at some of our first half highlights, they were on fire early, the Melbourne Boomers. Kayla George with that terrific 3, but they've made good choices from beyond the perimeter so far, the Townsville Fire. It's been in good hands when Mia Murray and Nadine Payne are free from beyond the arc. You'd back them more times than not.
Yeah, you would. They have a lot of great shooters in the Townsville Fire team, and as we can just see again, Nadine Payne hitting those big 3s, but it's because they have such a great presence inside with Billings and Zatina. They're making Melbourne have to help off, and when Sutton's driving into the key and really threatening that jumper in the middle, you have to help off, otherwise it's going to be an open 2.
Let's have a look at some of the match stats to halftime at the moment. You can see the Townsville Fire not quite getting it going from the field at the moment, but they're matching it with the Boomers from the rebound perspective, and they've got 2 of the best rebounds. Well, they've got one of the best rebounders in Kayla George, and Ezzy Magbegor helping out there as well. But they're matching the Boomers off the glass at the moment.
They are, and a lot of the time, if you win the boards, you win the game.
Yep.
So I think that's going to continue to be something we watch for the rest of the game. But the field goal percentage is really what's helping the Boomers so far. 45 to 28, and the Fire have pegged it back a little bit. But if they can continue that, I think that we'll have a really close game.
And they're getting the foul line as well, really drawing those fouls out of the Melbourne Boomers. And already Kayla George has 3 fouls to her name, so we'll be keeping a close eye on that. With the Melbourne Boomers currently leading 34 to 31. We're here with Steph Blitzarves, the 2-time WNBL champion. We've been talking a little bit about Nadine Payne so far. She's a veteran of this competition. She had some time with the Perth Lynx and the Bendigo Spirit as well. She's back in Townsville, and she's making an impact so far in this game with 3 triples.
Yeah, she is. She has always been known to be a really good shooter. So for her to step up this game when they really needed it is big for her.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Nadine Payne so far with the 9 points, with going at 3 or 4 from beyond the arc, a couple of rebounds as well for Nadine Payne, who has the flexibility to play in a number of different positions at 188 centimetres, and at 28 years of age, she knows what it takes in the WNBL.
Yeah, as you mentioned, she's a stretch 4, so she can hit those threes and is renowned for being a 3-point shooter. But she also can drive to the basket. She has a great step, a great rip from that elbow area. And we're going to have to see her step up a little bit more this season, I think, because she's their stretch 4. Yep. She's going to have to be one of the go-to players.
You mentioned just beforehand driving to the basket. My goodness, Ezzy Magbegor is putting on a show driving to the basket at the moment. She has 13 points at halftime, and you feel like she's just warming up.
Oh, you watch Ezzy, and I'm in awe of her every time I watch, because she's just so athletic. She can crash the boards. She has that rip. She now has that hesitation where she has a great change of pace and can acknowledge when she should go and when she should prop and shoot. So we're just seeing some of her highlights here, and she's just so strong under the basket. She's
only 22 years old, Steph. I know we talk about it every week in our WNBL coverage, but it has been like a gradual rise to superstardom. It's not like one tournament or one WNBL season has just catapulted her to this position now. It's been a lot of hard work and learning on the go where she's got herself into this awesome position that she's in now.
You're absolutely right, because you watch Ezzy and you always think, oh, she's had a good game, but she's a quiet achiever.
Yeah.
So we watch her and we acknowledge that she's doing fantastic things. But yeah, as you mentioned, it's been a gradual increase.
Let's have a look at, I suppose, this tantalising matchup between Magbegor and one of the other young rising stars in Australian basketball in the power forward position, Zatina Akuzo as well. It's been a terrific viewing so far. It's a matchup that we'll see for many years to come. We might see them on the basketball court, on the same court for the Opals so far. Zatina hasn't quite clicked for her on the field so far, but she's really dominating, or not dominating, but she's being busy underneath the boards at the moment. We are set. We're spoiled as Australian basketball fans to see 2 young guns going at each other like this at the moment. Yeah, we are, because we've had the same bigs internationally for a very long time with Kayla George, Mariana Tolo. And now we're seeing Ezzy coming through and Zatina coming through, and it says a lot for the development of basketball. Seeing them come together and seeing them working and what we can see in our league, it just says volumes for how we're developing. So just on the Townsville Fire and Zatina Akuzo as well, they're facing for the second straight week a lot of tight turnaround games. So they had round 8 back-to-back games where they beat Bendigo and then they beat Melbourne a day later in what could be the comeback of the season. We have a look at some of those highlights right now. It was a 20-point turnaround. As we get into this season as well, we have to remember as well we're technically halfway through the season, and what the rest of the season looks like, I'm sure, will be determined with the WA border situation at the moment. But as we hit this part of the WNBL season, what are these tight turnarounds like for these players, particularly the Townsville Fire, who have to travel at this stage with Perth staying on the East Coast? Townsville have to travel longer than any other team at the moment. I know. I mean, they'll be getting their frequent flyer miles up, get to that gold status. There are perks. It's really, the players have to do a lot of management for themselves. So what's right for your body, making sure you're doing your rest and recovery, and really focusing on what you need to do to be the best player you can be with that travel. So
It's obviously tough for the Fire and tough for Perth if they're going to have to be doing the travelling. The border situation is yet to unfold, but I think it says a lot for the players that really want to put in the effort and want to be players and want to be successful in this season.
Yeah, they're doing a great job for the Townsville Fire so far in this WNBL season. One of the players that's really stood out, and we've talked about her quite a fair bit throughout that first half, Steph, is your namesake, Steph Reid. You didn't have the chance to play officially on the same roster as her, but you talked about her and what some of her traits and her characteristics, and particularly defensively as well. Her ability to drive to the basket and draw fouls been a massive asset for her and the Townsville Fire right throughout this season so far.
Yeah, it has been. She's proven that she has great ball control and can get herself deep into the key and not pick the ball up. If there's nothing there, she has the sense to be able to dribble the ball out and set something else up and get someone else open. So not only is she a great scorer and a great passer, her defence, we talk about it every week. Her defence is absolutely fantastic.
She's a bit underrated in the Opals conversation at the moment. Should she be really pushing it, or is this maybe a little bit early at the moment?
Well, it's always great to have new exposure in the Opals. We've seen a few of the young guns coming in so far this Opals campaign, and it would be great to see her in there, even if it was just to shake it up, to make the other players better, even if she's not really in contention. But I think she's right there. She's one of those players that's going to keep working hard until she gets there, because she's not taking no for an answer.
Well, one player who's right there, who has been there for a long time and shouldn't be going anywhere anytime soon as well, is Kayla George, who at 32 years of age, you'd have to say at the moment, is in career best form. She put on a show the last time the Melbourne Boomers took on the Townsville Fire. But for a player who is so experienced, she's not slowing down at the moment, Kayla G.
No, and Kayla is big on those three-point shots. For someone with such size, she has such a high, quick release. And not only that, she battles in the key, she can rip, and she has the confidence, because she is a veteran of the league. She has the confidence to be able to score, pass, and do what she wants, essentially.
It's interesting because she was so dominant against the Townsville Fire last week. She had 24 points and 14 rebounds as well. She was enormous off the glass. She continues to have a terrific season as well. She's ranked second in the WNBL for rebounds at the moment. Only Annalie Maley is having a better season off the glass. How have you seen the Townsville Fire match up on Kayla so far in this game? Because you look at her stat sheet, 6.7 rebounds as well. All those points have come from beyond the arc. She hasn't had a shot inside the perimeter so far. So have they sort of learnt from potentially 8 days ago, the Townsville Fire?
I think they are definitely being very physical with her, and they're trying to keep her out of the key. So if they can minimise the damage that she does inside the key and just carry a hand on the three-point shot, because we know that she's going to get the shot off. We know that it's a high release, and you're probably not going to get a fingertip to it. But if you can change the shot slightly, I think you're going to be in good stead.
And above all, she's already got 3 fouls to her name as well, Kayla George. So that is we're going to be one to watch for the Melbourne Boomers, and the Townsville Fire coaching staff will no doubt be keeping a close eye on that one. Earlier today, we saw some cracking games, and gosh, the Sydney Uni Flames, they almost caused another big ball over the Steph Blitzar's Southside Flyers, but the Flyers just showed their class in that last quarter, able to get the victory in the end. And then we saw a cracking game between Adelaide and the Caps as well. Steph, what was your take on the 2 games that we saw earlier on KO Sports?
Yeah, well, I was right involved in the Southside Flyers match. I was sitting at home watching it, and at the start of the game, I thought it was Sydney's game, and anyone else, I believe, that would have been watching it would have thought the same thing. But the Flyers didn't want to say no. They didn't want to say die, and they managed to have, I think it was maybe 30 or 32 points in a row to win the match.
Gosh.
So if you're shooting like that and you're getting defensive stops like that, you're going to be almost impossible to stop.
Here's some of the highlights from the game. They're such a plucky team at the moment, the Sydney Uni Flames. They are continuing to impress. They've got a great balance of youth and experience at the moment. When you look at Shyla Hill and Lauren Mansfield, who we saw play terrific games last week as well. The wins aren't flowing for them at the moment, but they're not too far away from clicking. And when it does, they're going to be an exciting and dangerous team in the WNBL.
Yeah, you are absolutely right, because they've been ahead in so many games where they've just lost right at the end. And when they can get the hang of winning those close games, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Hopefully they can do it this season, or it might be a building block and they might be working towards next season. It's just learning to win the close ones.
So as we turn our attention back to the Townsville Entertainment Centre, it is a 3-point advantage for the Melbourne Boomers, but that was certainly Townsville's quarter in the second term. It was 25-13 at quarter time, but the Townsville Fire able to outscore the Boomers 18-9 in the second term, which is why we've now got a 3-point ball game as the second half gets underway from tropical Queensland. Great to have your company on KO Sports. Ian Mortworth and Steph Blitzarves with you for the call as Mitchell works her way inside to Ezzy Magbegor, who picks up from where she left off in the second half. 15 points for Magbegor, game high. Putting on another terrific show. Akuzo. Billings blocked emphatically by Kayla George.
And there was no way that was going anywhere near the basket. Kayla had eyes on it the whole time.
She's a terrific shot blocker, Kayla George. In fact, the best in the WNBL this season. Unfortunately, she can't stop the Fire from scoring on that occasion. They get the quick reply as well, but it's Kayla George at her best. Such a versatile player at 193 centimetres, Kayla G. Oh, George looking for the pass inside. I was just thinking about blocking is one of the underrated aspects of George's game, but also her passing. She's got terrific hands as well. That almost came off with that play there with Magbegor.
That would have been just beautiful to see if that hadn't came off there.
Fire bring it down the floor. This is Sutton. Their two imports with Billings, and Billings is screaming for it in the post, and this time she gets one over George, but can't get that two to drop. Again, put herself in the right position, run the ball, couldn't get the finish to go. 20 boards apiece, as you can see. Imagine with a really good open look for three, but can't get it to drop. Sutton has a good look here underneath the bucket. Mitchell didn't go up for the block attempt, and that's a very easy two. And the Fire are within 1 point. Terrific fight back from coach Shannon Seabom and his Fire girls. Allen with 5 to shoot now. Works her way inside, no foul called, and Allen's good enough to hit the mid-range too.
And that was just so strong there from Allen. She just managed to keep her composure and hit that little jumper just inside the key.
Sutton, Akuzo backing down on George. Master the apprentice there, and the apprentice throws the ball away. It's been a couple of seasons on the same Townsville Fire roster. Zatina Akuzo and Kayla George. As we have a look at Sutton able to get the second field goal of the game, and then got a hit there from Lindsay Allen, a fair hit according to the referee. And then able to hit the two. 7 to shoot for Allen, who kicks it out for Mitchell, for Madgen, who draws the defense in. Magbegor rolls it in, and 17.
Ezzy's not going to miss those ones.
8 of 10 from the field, Ezzy Magbegor. She goes at 56% from the field this season, ranked 4th in the WNBL. Billings v Magbegor, and Billings fumbles. They're trying to put the ball on the floor as Allen slips. He hopes he's okay. Looked like she got back to her feet okay as Billings works in tandem with Nicholson. They can't get it to go. Nicholson hits the deck. Foul has been called. Nasty as Lindsay Allen hit the floor here.
Her foot just looked like it slipped out in the key there.
At the other end, Nicholson couldn't quite get it to go. You're right, Steph. There's been a lot of close-range shots from both teams today that have just missed the mark. The rim's a little harder up in Townsville.
Maybe they've wrapped it up with some Glad wrap, I think.
Here's Laura Nicholson. What a joy it's been to watch her progression as a basketballer over the past 3-4 years, really. She was a Siebel star, the old, now the NBL 1 competition. She was first in 2018, second in 2019. WNBL Defensive Player of the Year with her second season with the Lightning. Worked her way into the Opal setup. Now she's an out-and-out star in this competition. George thought about the three, gave it to Mitchell as an open look, and she can't get it to drop. So both teams just starting to struggle from beyond the perimeter as Akuzo shows off her athleticism and had a bit too much juice off the glass there. End-to-end basketball at the moment. Mitchell, George, Magmegor on the post, guarded by Billings. Now George works her way inside. Magin open for three. Can't break the drought, but Magmegor gives them a fresh 14 seconds, the Melbourne Boomers. Allen kicks it right out for Mitchell for three. It's not dropping for the Boomers at the moment. Boomers applaud and will get the ball back.
And Billings knew what she had did. She walked away before she knew.
Offensive foul called on Monique Billings. 2 personal fouls for her, 2 for Cox from the Townsville perspective, 2 for Magmegor and 3 for Kayla George. For the Melbourne Boomers, but both Magmegor and George out the floor at the moment. See Steph Reid waiting to check back into the game for the Fire. Mitchell, couple of big steps, that's tough. That is an outstanding play from Tiffany Mitchell. She'll head to the line to shoot an extra.
And she did a great job here just to finish that, because there was a lot of heavy contact from Billings here.
She put the left arm out as well. And did well to control it with the other hand, hit the 2. Can extend Melbourne's lead back out to 6 points. Six-year WNBA veteran with Indiana, regular starter in the last two seasons. Tiffany Mitchell. And she does extend Melbourne's lead 43-37. Here's Reid on the floor. This matchup with Allen has been tantalising all night so far. Also on the floor is Nadine Payne. Nicholson for Payne, who's been hot from deep and is denied emphatically by Ezzy. Fire keep it alive. There's a whistle on the play, but Ezzy Magmegor
She's just
has
doing
terrific
it.
length.
Just doing it all over the court.
And the Boomers get the ball back. A little momentum switch here going in the way of the Boomers. Their starters getting the job done. Magmegor this time offensively gets some of her own medicine. Denied by Akuzo, but then followed up. Got the foul, was helped to her feet by the fellow Opal and Akuzo. And we'll head to the line. Looks even better from behind the ring, that shot, that block.
And then she gets her own board and puts it straight back up. Ezzy doing it all. She's blocking it, then she brought the ball up, being a point guard. Now she's at the line.
Played all 4 games for the Opals. The Tokyo Olympics averaged 12.5 points at 55% from the field. One thing she could work on, though, is her free throw percentage. She only goes at 54% from the stripe, Ezzy. So far in this WNBL season.
That's probably why she makes a lot of her first shots, so she doesn't have to go there.
Go to the line. And she misses both on that occasion, but the Townsville Fire look like they'll get the ball back.
And we've lost a couple of Melbourne players into the stands.
2 imports, Mitchell and Allen, but luckily they're okay. Lots of room beyond the white paint here at the Townsville Entertainment Centre. Great atmosphere in North Queensland for this game. They always turn out to support their team. Terrific fan base for Townsville Fire. Nicholson has 2 to beat there. As Sutton kicks it out for Payne, who works her way inside, then passes for Akuzo. There's a whistle on the play as well. There's still an opportunity for the Fire in their front court here. Just 2 seconds to shoot, though. And Payne Gets it for Reed. Quick release. Misses. Great defence from the Melbourne Boomers. Magbegor v Payne. Mitchell goes one-on-one with Nicholson, and great defence from one of the best defensive players in the comp to force a turnover. Boomers have extended their lead since half-time, but there's no easy buckets out there for either team at the moment. Sutton trying to put up the hard layup attempt. Akuzo with another offensive rebound. Reed inside, left-hand layup. That's the improvement of Steph Reed on display there.
I feel like she's faked us all out then. I thought she was about to hit the deck, kept her feet, and then managed to get that little scoop layup. Very impressive from Steph Reed there.
Can't be underestimated at 167 centimetres. As Kayla George, the catch and shoot. Misses the deep 2 attempt. Never looked like hitting that one. The fire back within 4. Nicholson, tough. George may have got the block in there. Great work from George, and now Allen kicks up the tempo. Mitchell was open for 3 for a while. Instead, they work it inside for George, but the foul is called on the play.
That was a smart foul there from Nadine Payne, because Kayla would have had the easy 2 if they had got it into her.
And the foul came before the shot as well. George, 6 points and 10 rebounds so far in this game. Kayla George. Izzy Wright on the floor here for the Boomers, for George, for Allen, for Wright in the corner. And good, strong rebound there from Brewster, who's had some good minutes off the bench for the Boomers.
And Brewster's another one to watch. Just her athleticism.
Yep.
She's very powerful, has a great control of her body inside the key as well, and can hit that 3.
George misses the turnaround jumper, just not quite dropping for her from inside the arc. She's 0 of 2 from 2-point field goal attempts. George, Payne open for 3. And then gets her own rebound. Call it an assist for Nadine Payne. And she gets her first 2-pointer of the game. Back to within 2 points. Again, the Fire find another gear to lay the challenge down at the Boomers' feet. Allen for George. Still can't get it to go from inside the perimeter, Kayla G. And now Reed picks up the tempo, takes on Allen. What a step inside from Steph Reed.
She has been so impressive so far in this game.
Levels up the scores. The audacity from the young gun on the star import. Allen hits the deck at the other end and is heading to the line. But don't forget the name Steph Reed. The Euro and changing hands at the same time, and the celebration too.
And there we go. This is going to be great vision.
Oh.
And she liked it.
Yeah.
And why shouldn't she?
That's a big contender for Power Play of the Week, no doubt. Young star we're watching before our eyes, Steph Reed. She has 6 points for the Townsville Fire, and most importantly scores a level. But Lindsay Allen, who is a very good free throw shooter at 78%, give the Boomers back the lead. The best season of the Boomers was 2018-19 when she finished top 3 in the MVP count and made the All-Star team. Top 3 of the Susie Bakovic medal count as well, I should say. As well, hello to Susie if you're watching. Allen good on both. So the Boomers get a little bit of breathing space, but the Fire are right in this. Reed almost turned it over. Good hands from Brown. Causing a little bit of panic here in the Fire. Nicholson kicks it out. Cox. Great play from the veteran. Left-hand finish just off target. 1 minute 45 and counting left in this third term. Ernst. getting some minutes here. Her third game in Boomers colours. Setting the screen for Allen to go to work. He kicks it out for Brewster. And love off the glass for Brewster. And the Fire sensing an opportunity here. Nicholson calls for calm, sets the play here as Payne sets the screen. She was open for the pick and roll. Reed though, can she do it again? Billings guarded by Brown, and a nice hand in there from the Boomers. 5 to shoot, Billings turns around well off target. Payne can't regather. And that is deemed maybe off Boomers' hands. Well done there from Ernst to get the hand in there and force the rush shot. It was deemed off Boomers' hands. So we see Lauren Nicholson take a seat for the Fire. Just a 6 points so far for Nicholson. A low-scoring game, it has to be said. These two teams, two of the best defensive teams in the WNBL, and Mia Murray comes up with a big-time play to level up the scores.
And she's a clutch shooter, and that was a fantastic shot from her right there.
Final minute of this quarter. Wright. Allen gets the screen from Brown. Ernst for three. Veteran three-point shooter, falling well short. And the Fire. What an opportunity they have now. The 11-second differential between game clock and shot clock to regain the lead, but Reed turns it over, and it's in dangerous hands if you're a Fire fan, with Lindsay Allen, who gets the two, draws the contact to head to the line for an extra.
And Lindsay Allen was just waiting. She could see the pass was coming and just picked it off perfectly. And then managed to make this layup, go to the line for an and one.
Such an aesthetically pleasing player to watch, Lindsay Allen. Everything she does with grace and guile. It kind of reflects the person that she is as well, as a very humble person.
Just goes about her business, does things well.
Really fitted into the Melbourne lifestyle as well. I think that's a big reason why she does keep coming back to the Boomers. And she completes the three-point play. And gosh, the Boomers needed that as well, because they have not had the momentum of this match for the past couple of minutes. Scanlon checks back into the game, so they're using their bench late in this third quarter, maybe just to give their starters some rest just before they turn for home. There's Coach Guy Malloy with a bit to think about just before the three-quarter time break. Two-time WNBL Coach of the Year as well. He did start with the Caps all the way back in 1989. Stints as well in the NBL as well. Murray handing it off. For Cox for Reed. Doesn't have a lot of time to shoot. She kicks it inside, and it's in good hands with Billings. With authority, inside she goes. Gets the two, and she's got a chance to level up the scores just before three-quarter time.
Do you know what I think is even more impressive? I think she elevated and stole that pass from Michaela Cox. What a beautiful finish.
That's tough. Lou Brown really made her earn that two-point bucket. And Monique Billings can't level up the scores. And at the other end, Brewster on the buzzer, can't get it to go. But the Townsville Fire, after trailing by 12 at quarter time and 3 at half time, are now within 1 as we turn for home. It's the Boomers 48, the Fire 47. Thrilling fourth quarter coming up in just a few moments. The FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup is heading to Australia in September for the first time in 27 years. 10 action-packed days at Sydney Olympic Park. 12 powerhouse basketball nations, including our own Opals, will battle it out for the world title as well. So to sign up for first access to tickets, head to womensworldcup.basketball for the best access to the best basketball show on the planet. Ben Waterworth with you alongside Steph Blitzarves for this thrilling round 9 conclusion. It's the Townsville Fire and the Boomers. The Fire were down by as much as 13 during the second quarter, but now, Steph, they're within 1. And you have to say they're a huge chance of knocking off the Boomers for a second consecutive week.
Yeah, and we knew before the game started that the Fire never go away. So even if they were down at the start, we knew that they would fight back, and they really try and grind it out. And they're really a team that gets on runs. So if they make a couple in a row, they're very, very dangerous.
What do the Boomers need to do when the Fire do get these momentum, these shifts of momentum which go into the Fire's favour? What do you want to see from the Boomers to try and arrest the momentum of the game back into their favour?
I think they just need to go with what's working. So obviously Ezzy's been a powerhouse inside today. So keep trying to pump it inside, and then if the Fire decide that they're going to collapse in and they're going to overhelp on Ezzy, then she's smart enough to make those extra passes to the open player. So I think keep going to what was been working, and it's going to help them in this last quarter.
Mag Begor with a game-high 17 points to go with 4 rebounds. 11 points also for Lindsay Allen of the Boomers. There's Monique Billings on screen. She's got 11 points and 8 rebounds, putting on another wonderful display. And Nadine Payne has 11 for Townsville as the fourth quarter commences. The home crowd fired up at the Townsville Entertainment Centre. Townsville within a bucket here of taking back the lead. Mia Murray can't deliver with that shot, but Monique Billings almost might. And Akuzo was there, but she fumbled, and the Boomers will get the ball back from their baseline. So Scanlon starting the fourth quarter on the court, as is Izzy Rice. Mitchell has the ball now, feeds it to Wright and Carly Ernst. She loves a deep 3 attempt. Attempted on that occasion. Scanlon has Mag Begor for 3. Probably not Ezzy's go at the point of the play, but nonetheless, the Boomers get the ball back. Mitchell goes to work on Nicholson. 2 tough players going at it there. Mitchell draws the foul from Nicholson and will head to the line to shoot 2.
And here we just see 2 tough players going straight at it.
%89% free throw shooter Tiffany Mitchell. And she also goes at 89% in the WNBA, 89.7 to be exact, which is the 6th best free throw shooting percentage in WNBA history. So she is clutch from the stripe. Good on both occasions here.
As we can expect.
So she's up to 7 points, and the Boomers extend their lead to 3. Nicholson, Sutton, she's got 4 assists. Sutton to her name. Pick and roll here with Billings, who works her way into the lane and draws some contact. Carly Ernst says, my bad.
And both teams are being very aggressive inside the paint, going straight at the other team and making them play defense and making the refs make calls.
And is that come about just because of it's just not dropping from 3-point territory today, Steph, or do you think they're just going to their strengths?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. If you're not making your outside shots, you want to get yourself to the line, and you want to try and make layups and easy shots to get that confidence back up. And here we see Billings hit a foul shot, so that might get her back on what we can see from the last game.
Yeah.
Her momentum run where she can have 4, 5, 6 in a row.
She's 6 of 10 from the free throw line, and it's just a 2-point differential between the two sides. And so many times we've seen the free throw percentage cost teams across all levels of basketball. You just hope it just doesn't come back to bite the Fire. And I think Billings as good as she has been today. Ernst, guarded by Akuzo. Scanlon. Eyes darting. Passing here for Mitchell, who has 6 to shoot. Tries to get around Nicholson, does, gets around Akuzo as well, can't get it to go, but Magbegor with a huge offensive rebound. She can't get the second chance point to go either, and the Fire now with an opportunity to level up the scores, or even take the lead. Long attempt there from Billings is off target, and Scanlon comes up with the rebound.
And that was quite a quick shot from the Fire. They probably had a little bit more time to get through a good play and get a really good-looking shot.
Mitchell athletically grabs it underneath the basket, banks it in for 2. Melbourne's lead extends to 4. And there hasn't been too many rush shots from both sides at all today, Steph. They haven't used a lot of their shot clock today.
No. And...
Oh, Magbegor! Out of my house, she says.
That was massive from Ezzy right there.
2 big blocks from Magbegor today. Then at the other end, she stampedes her way through. Akuzo hits the deck pretty hard. Foul is called.
And here we get to see it again.
Oh, yes. Straight down as well, back to the floor. And the 2 young stars of Aussie hoops going at it. Magbegor 22, Akuzo 23. Akuzo with 2 fouls to her name. Billings with 3 for the Fire. And for the Boomers, it's George with 3. Magbegor missed her first 2 free throw attempts. She gives the Boomers a 5-point advantage. What a game she's putting together, though. Another eye-catching performance from one of our best basketballers in the country. She misses the second attempt. The Fire come up with a defensive rebound. 7.5 to play in the 4th quarter. Great to have you with us on KO Sports. Thrilling conclusion coming up to round 9 of the WNBL. Murray nails it from deep. Clutch Steph Blitzars, as you mentioned before, from the veteran.
And that's the Mia Murray we know and love.
5th triple for Townsville. Great look inside there from Magbegor to Scanlon, who can't get the layup to go. Good defense from Sutton. And that's knocked away from Lauren Nicholson. So the Fire can reload from their backcourt here after this beautiful 3-pointer from Mia Murray.
Never looked like missing that shot. Beautiful.
Murray up to 8 points so far in this game. She hasn't had a game so far this season beyond 10 points. Hit 9 a couple of times. I'll be hoping for some big buckets from her down the stretch. Nicholson, the Payne, who's come up with some big buckets so far today, but there's no way she's getting past Kayla George on this occasion. 7 blocks to 1 in favour of the Boomers today. George, no foul on her. Townsville fans not too happy with the call. 8 to shoot here for the Boomers. Magbegor, George, handing it off for Rice, who has 1 second to shoot. George catch and shoots. Missed anyway. Good defense from the Fire. Murray, closely guarded this time by Rice. Hand off there to Sutton with a deep 2 and knocks it down, and we're all square again in Townsville.
What a game. This is fantastic to watch.
These 2 teams have had some classic matchups over the years. We think particularly to the 2017-18 Grand Final Series, which the Fire won in a best of 3. That second game was one of the most thrilling basketball experiences we've ever seen in the WNBL. Another thrilling contest coming up in Townsville tonight. 1 to shoot. Allen can't get it to go, and the Fire with an opportunity now in their front court.
And that's been 2 great defensive sets for the Fire.
And then, what a defensive play again from Lindsay Allen. The steal, the fast break layup drops, and the Boomers just will not relinquish this lead. Lindsay Allen up to 13 points. She's got 4 steals in this game as well. And then all alone underneath the basket is Nicholson. How did that happen?
That was a big miscommunication there from the Boomers because Losh just seemed to walk into the key and just easy too.
When baskets have been so hard to come by today, Lauren Nicholson probably comes up with the easiest halfway through the final quarter. George, Allen, works her way into the perimeter, can't get it to go. Billings comes up with yet another rebound. That's her 11th for the day. She's got a double-double. 12, in fact, make it 12 and 12 for Monique Billings. Her third double-double of the WNBL season so far. Nicholson wanting a screen here from Billings. Somehow works out, and Billings puts it in, and the Fire hit the lead for the first time tonight.
And Guy Malloy having a little word to the refs there, saying that it was after the shot clock. So it'll be interesting to see what happens after this timeout.
Timeout is called as Monique Billings able to get it to go, is right on the red line as well. Here's a really good look at it. You be the judge at home. No, she got that off with 0.1, I reckon.
I think she did too.
Great call by the referees. Timeout called, and Shannon Seabaum, the blood would be pumping through his veins at the moment with his side up 57 to 55. How have they been able to work their way back into this game, Steph?
It's been fantastic to watch. They've had maybe 2 or 3 fantastic defensive sets where they've made Boomers shoot a contested shot right at the end of the shot clock, and they've come up with the boards, so they haven't let them crash the offensive boards and get putbacks. And that's really what got them to this point in the game.
Shannon Seabaum addressing his side. Mia Murray, their front and centre. Great to have her back as part of the Townsville Fire set up for another season. Plenty of experience out there for the Fire. Mia Murray, a 3-time WNBL champ. Kayla Cox there listening in, the 3-time WNBL champ as well. Nicholson, Opal's experience. As they break. To head back onto the floor with 4 minutes left in this contest.
And you just feel like it's anyone's game at the minute. There's no team that's really overrunning the other one.
Yep.
The momentum swing just is from play to play.
Crowd full of voice at the Townsville Entertainment Centre. Allen gets into the paint. Tough shot. Doesn't drop, but she was fouled, and she will head to the line despite a flabbergasted look from Nadine Payne.
The close-ups are my favourite part.
Yeah, oh yes. That is one of the best parts about doing basketball broadcasts. Here's Lindsay Allen, 78% free throw shooter. She's been excellent today from the stripe. She's 6 of 6 so far. Lindsay Allen. Lots of noise around the venue. But Lindsay Allen's too good, and she levels up the scores with 3 minutes 42 and counting. And Guy Malloy is not the only person in the venue on the edge of their seat. Sutton inside. Dangerous pass, and the Boomers' hands were too fast there. All their starters are back out on the floor now, the Melbourne Boomers. Mitchell for George. Loves this spot, and Kayla George comes up with a big 2 and gives the Boomers back the lead.
She's just been waiting for the clutch point of the game before she's going to start making her outside shots.
She's very good in that mid-range from the baseline, Kayla George. 10 to shoot for Lauren Nicholson. Boomers defense right on song here. No easy passes or shots. Murray from the car park. All oxygen on that attempt. But good defensive set this time from the Melbourne Boomers.
Beautiful. Just saw a little bit of extra help coming in there from the Fire, and then straight out to Kayla for that mid-range shot.
Mia Murray missing just her second three-point attempt of the game, and timeout is called, and Nicholson addressing her side. Do I dare ask you, Steph, which way this game's going to go in the final 2 minutes and 54 seconds?
I really just don't think you could split them.
No. Very even contest, isn't it, at the moment?
It is, and it's from play to play. You go, oh, maybe they're going to get a little run in here, and then absolutely not. There'll be a big block or a big power stop. So it's just going to be too difficult to call at the moment.
And so when that's the case, it's going to come down to individual plays. It's going to come down to moments in particular.
It is, and if you're the Fire, you're really going to be talking about locking up in defence.
Yep.
No easy shots, one and done. Once the shot goes up, you got to box out. They've done such a good job in this last couple of minutes of making them use the entire shot clock and getting the board. So they'll just have to keep doing that, and hopefully with contested shots, there'll be some misses.
Teams head back out on the floor. 2 minutes and 54 seconds remaining. It's been a terrific round 9 of the WNBL. We had overtime on Friday night between the Fire and the Lightning. That was the second overtime game of the season so far. Maybe this game might have another twist or turn left.
And we see the Boomers with 3 opals on the floor, so they're going to their experience.
And Madgen is one of those opals and comes up with a huge mid-range too. And the Boomers, they relinquish the lead briefly, but consecutive buckets now. A couple of free throws as well for Allen, and a turnover created by Magbegor, who can do no wrong on the floor.
She has been fantastic tonight.
Big steal from the star opal, as George looking there for Madgen, but just wavered with the pass, so the Fire get a reprieve. So you look at Ezzy Magbegor. Again, that length that Ezzy has, so hard to guard, so hard to come up against if you're on offense. Payne. Nicholson for 3. All oxygen. And she took that shot with still 8 seconds left on the shot clock.
And Loz has been, we know she's a great three-point shooter, and she's been great offensively, but that shot maybe wasn't quite the right shot to take in the context of the game.
Boomers just getting the game back on their terms. 1 minute 45 and counting. Allen for Mitchell. Beautiful move inside. Foul is called as Mitchell hits the deck. And just the wisdom and the experience and the class of the Boomers in the past 2 minutes just starting to come to the fore.
And we just saw Nadine's arm just extend a little bit, and the refs are going to call that every day.
That's her 4th personal foul as well, Nadine Payne. Didn't start tonight, but she has been entrusted with a lot of minutes so far in this game. Her 13th WNBL season, Nadine Payne, been around for a long time. Talked about Tiffany Mitchell's efficiency from the free throw line before. She's an excellent free throw shooter. That's the thing with the Boomers, both of their imports, Allen and Mitchell, excellent from the stripe.
And if you're in this scenario, you want to have either Allen or Mitchell shooting those foul shots.
Guy Malloy a little more relaxed, a little bit more towards the back of his seat now. His side has put together the last 8 points of this game. Sutton just able to regather. Murray, Sutton, 6 to shoot. Works her way inside, foul is called. Madgen is called for the foul. It's her first of the game. Reaching in there as Sutton tried to drive.
And they've called it on the floor, so no foul shots here for Sutton.
14 seconds to work with for the Fire on the shot clock. Mia Murray on the floor. Nicholson drives hard inside the floater. Beautifully executed off the glass. And they're back within 4.
great recognition there for Loz, just on that little flare and then to attack the seam. It was beautiful.
Imagine George. Inside for Magbegor. She's been the difference in this game. Jesse Magbegor again, Steph.
Just the recognition. She knew she was being overplayed, took that quick back cut, and Kayla hit her on that beautiful back cut for the layup. Fantastic.
Takes her tally to 20 points for the night. Again, a great assist from Kayla George. And Magbegor is so dangerous underneath the rack. A lane opened up for her, and even a player of Monique Billings' quality couldn't stop her. So 56.6 seconds remaining. What if you Townsville coach Shannon Seaborn, Steph, what are you drawing up here? What's your strategy sort of heading into the final closing stages of the game?
We still have a lot of time on the clock, but to just get back that gap that's just gone a little bit uncomfortable for them, they're going to have to try and push the floor. If they can get a quick score in the first 7 seconds, and then get straight up and pressure, maybe even a full court press to try and worry the Boomers into some turnovers, that would be what they might be thinking of doing.
20 points for Magbegor, 15 for Allen, 11 for Mitchell for the Melbourne Boomers. 3 players in double figures for them. For the Townsville Fire, 14 for Billings to go with 12 rebounds, double-double for her. And then 11 for Nadine Payne and 10 for Lauren Nicholson after that last field goal from her. Now the pressure is on the Fire to come up with some big plays, but it's going to be tough against those Melbourne Boomers starters, and they are star-studded starters. An intimidating prospect for 7 other WNBL teams to come up against those 5 Melbourne Boomers starters. Sutton for Billings. Back for Sutton. Murray for 3. Can't get it to go. It looked pretty good off the hand too.
And that was a well-executed play right there from the Townsville Fire. It just didn't fall for them.
Magbegor for George, for Madgen. They're going to use up every ounce of the shot clock here. Payne's already got the 4 fouls to her name. She will now come to the bench after committing her 5th. Looked good.
It did, and it was a great back screen there from Nadine Payne to get Mia Murray open. It just didn't quite fall for them.
So Woods will step onto the floor. It's for the 24-year-old. She watches Tess Madgen at the line. It was an 85% free throw shooter. Again, great from the stripe, but she misses. Former Townsville Fire player herself. 2 seasons with the Fire. This is her 6th with the Melbourne Boomers. And she is able to extend the lead to 7. Everything now has to go right for the Townsville Fire. Sutton, they were trying to free up Mia Murray for 3. Boomers' defense is strong. Nicholson with a mid-range 2, doesn't go. Mitchell comes up with the rebounds. And that might be game done and dusted. Lindsay Allen using her wisdom and experience to bring the ball towards mid-range, crossing over on Mia Murray. And the Melbourne Boomers are going to escape with a victory in Townsville. They were severely challenged by the Townsville Fire, but the Boomers' star-studded starters come up big and register a 66-59 victory over the Townsville Fire in a cracking way, Steph Blitzarves, to finish round 9 of the competition.
And it was just a great game to watch. You just saw firepower from all over the court. Both teams put their best foot forward, and it was just Melbourne Boomers that came away with it today.
Guy Malloy will be breathing a sigh of relief. The Boomers move to 7-3 in their WNBL 2022 campaign. The Townsville Fire go to 4-4. As we have a look at some of the highlights throughout this game, and we're sport for choice, no doubt, today. Got both offensively and defensively. Some of the blocks, some of the plays, some of the drives inside, Steph, were awesome to watch.
It is, and just the athleticism of some of the plays that we saw. Like, Ezzy sprinted from the split line there just to block a shot and then get straight back into it to get that board.
That is probably the play of the game as well from Steph Reid. And the celebration to go with it as well.
You can't make a move like that and not have a celebration like that, can you?
Lindsay Allen again stepping up to the fore with the Melbourne Boomers. Monique Billings with another double-double. That's her third of the WNBL season so far. But once the Fire hit the lead, the Boomers just seemed to go to another level, another gear, and they just stepped up professionalism, Steph.
And it's a lot to say because Ezzy was just phenomenal today. I think if we had to think there was a difference between the game and what maybe would have won it for them, I think Ezzy's performance today was really the turning point for them.
And as if on cue, Steph Blitzarves, we have got Ezzy Magbegor courtside at the Townsville Entertainment Centre. Ezzy, congratulations, Ben Waterworth and Steph Blitzarves in the studio here. It was a pleasure to watch the game today, but gosh, the Townsville Fire really made you earn that victory today.
Yeah, thank you. I think, obviously we played them last week, so we knew it was going to be a tough game against them. And we didn't take anything for granted, and we just had to stick it out all through the 4 quarters. But yeah, Townsville are a great opponent, so it was a good game tonight.
When they hit the lead late in that 4th quarter as well, they took the lead by 2 points. You guys seem to go to another gear from a professionalism perspective. What is this chemistry like between the starting 5 that you're a part of at the Melbourne Boomers at the moment?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's definitely building each week. But I think we just didn't want a repeat of last week. And like I said, Townsville are a great opponent. So I think just, our bench, our chemistry is great with the bench, with the starters. So I think we just brought that through all 4 quarters today.
And great job today, Ezzy, might I say. But mostly you just played the Fire, as you said. But what did you take away from that first game and what did you work on on the practice court?
I think just our offense. Obviously we had, a 4th quarter last week that isn't us. So I think we just needed to be more aggressive this game, just play on our front foot and not let, the Townsville Fire just get us defensively. And I think we did a great job of working through that through practice this week and just really focusing on our offense.
Ezzy, we've seen you sort of gradually just become this awesome star in Australian basketball as well. How have you seen your development in the past couple of seasons? Because it hasn't been one big WNBL season or one big Opals campaign that's sort of seen you get to where you are now. It's been a gradual rise as well. How have you seen your development in the past 2 to 3 years?
Honestly, I think it's just a credit to, the teams that I've played on. I come in with great veterans. With the Boomers, Kayla, obviously, just playing behind her and kind of learning from her has definitely helped my game grow. And then with the Opals, just, all the girls, just Jenna, Katie, just a lot of them. So I think it's definitely a credit to the team I play with. And obviously, Guy's been helping me work on my game throughout the years. And I think the great thing about it is I just, want to get better, so I don't think I'm there yet.
You're very close there, Ezzy, doing a great job. Lindsay Allen, though, is a terrific Melbourne Boomers player and person as well. She's slotted into this lineup so seamlessly. What is it like to play now another season with Lindsay Allen, and what's it like to have her out on the floor?
I think it's great playing with Lindsay. Like you said, she's played with us 2 seasons before, so just having her back has been great. She's just a great leader on the court, off the court, and really does a great job of setting up our offense. And yeah, we just love playing with her, so she's a great addition to our team.
You came up against Zatina Akuzo today and a couple of other Opals opponents, Lauren Nicholson as well. Your focus now turns to national duties as well. How excited are you for the next couple of weeks as you're heading into a training camp and you get back to working with some of the best basketballers in Australia?
Yeah, I think we're all pretty excited. I think whenever we can get together with the Opals group is, pretty special because we don't have a lot of time together. So we fly out tomorrow morning as well as, Loz and Zatina as well. So it should be a great camp, and then the team that gets selected will head over to Serbia later in the week. But I think we're just all looking forward to it.
Ezzy, congratulations on a terrific performance both individually and as a team as well. And good luck for the upcoming camp and the Opals campaign.
Thank you.
Ezzy Magbegor joining us, and what a star she is on and off the court, Steph.
Oh, she is. And She's just one of the great calibre players that we have in the WNBL this season, and she's so exciting to watch. You just know that she's putting everything into every game.
Let's have a look at some of the key numbers from the game so far. The rebound count was even right throughout the game. Both teams pretty good in terms of taking care of the basketball as well, but the Boomers just had that little bit more accuracy from the field, Steph.
Yeah, and that's really just the difference in the game, isn't it? So it was such a close game the entire way through, and you win the board, you win the match most of the time, but the Boomers fell in that, but came out with the win.
So this was the last game of round 9. Our next game isn't until next Saturday in the WNBL. A lot of players now will be heading along to this Opals camp as well, the 16-player Opals camp. It probably just gives all the WNBL clubs and players and coaches and administrators, as we see a beautiful shot there of Carly Ernst and Kylan, who was only born not too long ago, only 4-month-old. It just gives teams and players a chance to take a breath on what has been a pretty hectic start to this season.
Yeah, it has been, and especially with the uncertainty and postponing games and having to fit games in, it's just a nice little break where they have a full week and they're able to just work on the things that they need to work on, and it's just beautiful seeing Carly and Kylan right now.
The dancing feet already does Kylan, showing off like her mum. She's got beautiful feet from beyond the perimeter as well. That wraps up round 9 of the WNBL, and what was a fantastic finish as well. You and I should work together more, Steph, because we are getting some ripping games at the moment, and we saw a great one today between the Fire and the Boomers.
Yeah, it was absolutely a nail-biter. It was right down to the crunch, and the Boomers just came away with it, and it was really exciting to watch.
It was, and it's been great to have your company on KO Sports once again for the WNBL. On behalf of Steph Blitzars and our entire hard-working team, this is Ben Waterworth signing off from the Townsville Entertainment Centre, where the Boomers escaped with victory. 66 over the Townsville Fire, 59. Good night.